Hello YouTube, what is going on? My name is Tyler and this is your Movie Fix. Daniel Craig is back as Bond in Spectre. Directed by Sam Mendes and starring Christoph Waltz, Lea Seydoux, Dave Bautista, and Ralph Fiennes, we are continuing the story from Skyfall and the other previous Daniel Craig Bond movies. In this one, Bond is still tracking down the terrorist organization that's responsible for all these attacks going on all around the world and some of his own personal demises, which we find to be Spectre. First off, as far as performances go, Craig did absolutely awesome, as he always does. You know, I'm a really big fan of Craig as Bond. I think it really works for him. I know there's, those articles going around about him wanting to slit his wrists before he ever did Bond again. That was kind of taken out of context and had more to do with him being tired of working on the movie at the moment, but I don't get the impression that he dislikes the character or working on these movies at all from this. He did an absolutely awesome job, and he really brought it. There's just certain things that you can only get away with saying when you're James Bond, and there's plenty of that in this, and it works. As far as villains go, we get Christoph Waltz in this one. I was really looking forward to this, especially after something like Inglourious Basterds, which I just watched the other day. Christoph Waltz does his thing. He is very Christoph Waltz in this. I did feel like maybe he was a little bit underutilized as far as the amount of screen time he got, but he was very good at pulling off this really creepy. He was really arrogant in what he did, a lot like Silva in Skyfall. But he's not an ex-00 agent or anything. But I didn't really feel like he phoned it in or anything, and he did an awesome job. We also got Dave Bautista in this, coming off the heels of Guardians of the Galaxy. As little as he got to do in Guardians of the Galaxy, they managed to give him even less lines. It worked, though, for the character. I can understand why they got Bautista to do this. The character who, I don't even recall ever hearing his name. The guy only gets like 2 lines in the movie, but he is just a hulking monster, a speechless killing machine in this. He's constantly going after Bond all throughout the movie. It's pretty damn awesome. He worked for me in this. He didn't need to say much, but he was fucking awesome. Next we get Lea Seydoux in this as our Bond girl. She did work fine for what she was doing. She was related to a familiar face from one of the previous Bond movies, which you will see if you go watch the movie. And for the most part, she did pretty good. Before we get to things that I enjoyed, I want to talk about a couple of things that I disliked about this movie. Something I really felt that it kind of suffered from were Bondisms. It was just a couple of little things that kind of turned me off from wanting to watch the other Bond movies. I should add that these Daniel Craig ones are the only Bond movies that I saw. Part of what interests me in them is that they're not the cheesy spy movies. I felt like in the other ones, we get a really serious take on James Bond, and in this, they kind of try to interject a lot of situational humor. As far as the banter goes, I love the humor that was in the script, as far as the dialogue between characters, that works fine. But there's situational humor that just doesn't fit this movie. It doesn't fit this Craig Bond series of movies. There was a bit where, Bond has his big fight with the villain, and then it's over, and very quickly, him and Lea Seydoux look at each other, and he's like, well, what do we do next? And then it just kind of cuts to them making out and getting ready to have sex, and I get it, but that's a Bond thing. It's like they tried to make it a stereotypical Bond movie, which I just didn't like. That kind of turned me off from it. But those were only little small parts. It didn't affect the movie as a whole for me. It was just 1 or 2 scenes in there that just seemed like they were trying a little too hard, and I don't know how much of that was Sam Mendes' choice or studio interference. Back when there was big Sony leaks going on, there was a lot of drama surrounding this movie. So I don't really know what that was really all about, but it didn't fit or work for me. I'm not sure if it was just the speakers in my theater or if it was just really bad sound effects. Like some of the sound effects and the Foley, like when you punch somebody and you hear the sound, some of it just sounded really bad. Like I could count the fucking pixels in the sound. I'm not sure what that was all about. I don't know if it was bad speakers or if I'm used to my, sound system here at home. For a movie that cost as much as this one did, I would think that they would maybe have some better sound going in there, and it really only seemed like an issue in the first sequence throughout the movie. Maybe they figured out what was going on. Some of the sounds were a problem. I also kind of felt like that was something that Quantum of Solace suffered, really bad sound effects. I can't imagine why we live in this day and age and it had like D-list movie sound effects. Also, this isn't, an entirely true negative thing, but I was missing Judi Dench as M. She was really awesome all throughout the other movies. But we do get to see Ralph Fiennes being more of a field agent M, which was really cool to see that. Also, back on the opening of the movie, it kind of dragged. There was an action sequence going on that dragged just a hair. Maybe didn't make a lot of sense. But for the most part, it was really good looking. I'm not sure. I think it might physically pain directors to not use shaky cam during running and chasing scenes. The shaky cam was really only there for in the beginning of the movie, and then they do away with it. I don't understand why. You have an awesome cinematographer and you want him to be doing this thing with the damn camera. I get why they think it looks good, but it really doesn't. I don't think it looks good ever. One thing this movie maybe suffered, it's not bad for me or other people that are fans of this movie, but you had to have seen the other Bond movies for this to make sense. I imagine if you didn't see any other Craig Bond movies, you're going to be lost a lot of this movie. This one is heavily connected to the other ones big time. That's really it, but it worked for me because I have seen them and I also saw them recently. So if you're a fan of the other ones, this is going to be fine. I guess as a negative, this movie probably doesn't stand well alone, but as a sequel and part of the series, it's awesome. Next, I want to talk about a couple things that I did like about the movie and things that just worked for me in general. There were kind of two separate plots going on, and I actually really liked that they were doing that. You have James going after, the organization Spectre the entire movie, while M is handling a crumbling 00 program where MI6 and MI5 are actually merging, and that's being ran by C. C is played by Andrew Scott, and what he's basically trying to do throughout this is he seems a little hellbent on trying to eliminate the 00 program. He thinks it's primitive. We don't need people to go kill. We don't need people to go kill people. We have drones. We can do this by computers and surveillance. And he's trying to get all of the security agencies around the world to join up into one big program, kind of like what Spectre is. It's groups of terrorist programs all across the world that are one thing, and he's trying to get all of the security agencies to be one thing. I thought the Bond and Q interactions, their banter was awesome. It worked really well. They were really funny. I really love Ben Whishaw as Q, and I'm glad we got to see him used a little more. I loved him in Skyfall, so it was really cool to see him utilized a lot more. He is awesome as Q. As far as all the other action sequences, they were really well done. I didn't really have any other complaints aside from the shaky cam. There was great chase scenes, great plane action, helicopter. There's a lot of helicopters in this one, but all of it really worked well. Bond is fucking badass. He pulls a little bit of gung fu, kind of like in John Wick, but it's pretty good. I'm just glad to see the action handled pretty well, like it was in Skyfall, and not like Quantum of Solace. Of course, there was beautiful cinematography by Hoyt van Hoytma, really great landscape shots, and being able to shoot on location I think helped us out a lot, but it did look really good. I didn't get to see this in IMAX, unfortunately. I know there were IMAX shots, so those of you who do get to see it in IMAX, I'm a little jealous. But this is my first time going to see a Bond movie in theaters, so that was a nice experience alone. We get music by Thomas Newton, which I'd say for the most part is forgettable. Aside from the main 007 theme, the music sounds good, it works for the movie, it works great for the tone of what they were doing, but there wasn't really anything memorable outside of the 007 theme, which there doesn't need to be, but it did sound good and it fit well. Also, it was a really great intro music video with Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith. I thought that worked really good, which makes me really excited for the Steelbook, actually, because I do have the other ones. I had Casino Royale on Steelbook, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall. And, a lot of times what they'll do with these movies is these are the Best Buy exclusives, and they'll take the opening sequence and they'll put that into the art of the Steelbook, so I thought that was really well. A couple of the Bond songs I just think really kind of sucked, but Skyfall by Adele and Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith I thought were really good, and I felt like they actually did a really good job with those. So if you are a fan of the Daniel Craig Bond films, I think you will most definitely enjoy this. I don't think you have any problems. I think it was a great movie, really fun, had some good humor and awesome action. So with that being said, I'm going to give Spectre an 8.6 out of 10. Something I really love and hate about the Bond movies is that they really romanticize the spy thing. You're watching him on there, like, I want to go put on a suit and go kick some ass. But then you really think about it, you'd probably die in the first day, you'd get shot, and you wouldn't have any of the fun that James Bond does. That's one thing I hate. So guys, comment down below, let me know, what is your favorite James Bond movie starring Daniel Craig, and what did you think of this one if you got the chance to check it out? One last quick thing, I do not use the digital codes for my movies, and I actually have all the digital codes right here for Skyfall, Casino Royale, and Quantum of Solace, and I will put those up right here. And there you go. If you use those codes, be sure to comment down below. And also a quick update on my movie giveaway that I started when I had this channel. I'm going to be doing that when I hit 75 subscribers. We're almost there. I hit 60 in a little over a month. That is awesome. You guys are great. Thanks for all the support. But when I hit 75 subscribers, I will select one person at random, and they will get the big lot of the digital UV codes that I had on my first video. So that's it for now, guys. Be sure to subscribe for more movie news, movie reviews, and trailer reactions. I will see you on the next movie.